everyone, it's Jessica Michaels, and I am super excited because this is my very first design team layout for Bramble Fox, and I am using the October Fox box today, so I'm just showing you all the beautiful things that come with that. Or I think the premium subscription comes with a little bit more, but I showed you what it typically comes with for the regular box, and I am using the stencil with it and the paper snips number 41 and 42 as well. So I have just pulled out a background piece of paper by 49 in Market to start my layout, and I'm matting my photos with some smooth white cardstock just to start. I've got these two photos of my son playing in the crunchy leaves in October of last year, so I am just matting them first with smooth white, and then I'm going to mat them again with another pattern paper by 49 in Market as well. And then I'm pulling in this collection by Simple Stories called Harvest Market, so I'm going to actually use this orange background paper for my mat on my other photo. I wanted to pull in some of that beautiful orange color, so I thought that collection matched this perfectly. And then I'm just going to trim these down with my large paper trimmer, and I am trimming off my branding strip here since I had it over here. And then I am just going to continue building my layout by distressing these edges on my photos. I'm going to use some of these acrylics that came with the Fox box. And like I said, I'm going to use those paper snips as well, but I'm going to cut them out first and kind of just have a play with which ones I want to use. I know I want to use a couple of the trees, and I also want to use a couple of these little I call them flares, but they're circles, but they are embellishments. You can use them as regular embellishments or stickers, but you could also pop down the epoxy clear to make it look like a flare button, which is what I'm going to do. So you can also get the die that comes with comes for these sheets with the paper snips. It's actually sold in the shop, and you can grab that. Mine's actually en route in the mail right now. I ordered it, but I have not received it here in the US yet. So once I get that, I won't be having to fussy cut all of those out. I can just simply run that through my die cutting machine to cut most of those out. So it definitely comes in handy, but for mine I just used a circle punch that I had on hand here. So then I just fussy cut a bunch of these leaves that came from that sheet that I was using, and the other paper snip sheet. So I used number 41 and 42 for my paper snips. So I just cut a couple of those trees off and then a bunch of the leaves. And then here, I'm just building my title down here at the bottom of my photos. I've actually hand drawn a circle on my background paper because I'm going to do some machine stitching on there. So I just chose a circle that I cut out recently for another layout, actually. And I used it for this one as well, just by drawing a light pencil mark around that circle for my machine stitching. And then here I'm just gonna glue down a couple things using some Nuvo liquid adhesive. I'm just gonna pop down a couple of the leaves because I know that that's not going to be affected with my stitching, and I actually want to just stitch over top of them. So I'm just popping those couple leaves down, and then this photo is not going to be affected by my stitching either because it's going to go around that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those items down, and then the other things I'm just going to set aside while I do my machine stitching. So here you can see I did some messy circles, but I did follow my template that I drew. So I just kind of stitched around, I think it was 3 times, so just a little bit messy. I wasn't super particular how they turned out, which is my favorite kind. So here I'm making that little epoxy flare by placing that clear little epoxy piece over top of the circle that I punched out. And then I'm just having a play with my title down here, making sure that everything's where I want it to be, and popping those leaves down. I'm going to actually pull out some 3D foam squares and pop up a couple of these items, like that cute little acorn that I cut out, and this leaf here that kind of looks like a maple leaf, which is what my leaves are in my photo. So here is a couple little trees on the right side that I'm going to place down, and that little leaf is going to stay on that side, and that's a little acrylic leaf. So I like some of these tags that are in this collection that I'm using from Simple Stories. So I've actually cut a couple out to use. So I'm just trimming off the excess here and punching the holes out real quick. And then I'm going to actually tuck these in behind my photos. I wanted some additional layers to go behind my photos. So you'll see me peeling this one up a little bit just so that I can put those tags down in behind there. But I really like to layer around and behind my photos, so this is a nice way to add an additional layer behind your photos and add a little bit extra interest. So after I get this photo stuck down, you can see that I use some of the paper snips on the tops of my photos, and I put a couple of those labels there. And then over here, I am just going to pull those off because I want to use this fabulous stencil that that comes in this month because it's just absolutely stunning, and I love all of these cute little fall phrases. And I think this is just perfect for inside this circle and kind of overlapping outside. So I'm just using some pixie tape by Thermoweb to tape off the areas that I don't want to get onto my layout. And I am letting that overlap my circle so it goes to the outside just a little bit. And then I'm using some Distress Oxides and I think Spiced Marmalade and Crackling Campfire, if I remember right. Is that what's on my screen? No, Dried Marigold. So Dried Marigold and Crackling Campfire. So I just used the lighter one at the bottom and then the darker one on the top portion to create kind of like an ombre effect. Even though I'm going to cover this back up in a second on that left side, so you're not going to be able to tell completely that it's an ombre effect, but it's okay. I know that it's there and I like the way that it looks, so I'm just going to go with it. And I had to peel this up a little bit because I accidentally taped off my thankful word there, so I just had to finish that part off. I'm going to add apples up here on that phrase, so I'm just again taping off what I don't want to get onto my page, and then I'm just blending my blending brush over top of the stencil. So I'm pulling out some baker's twine in black and white stripe to match the stripes on the outside edges of my layout. And just popping those around my tags, just kind of fraying them at the ends a little bit, just to give them a little extra something. I don't usually do that, but I really liked the distressed look of them, so I wanted to kind of pull them apart a little bit. Here's my little phrases. I love these cute little strips that came in the box, and I'm going to place a whole bunch of those up there. And then I'm just going to fussy cut a whole bunch of these leaves out, and then I'm going to place up here. So I'm just staggering them around, just creating that nice cluster up at that corner. I guess you can call it a corner. It's a circle, so I guess it doesn't really have any corners, but this is the top corner is what I call it of my layout. But I still feel like it's kind of lacking in this section up here, so I'm going to actually notch out a part on the left side, but you'll see that here in a moment what I do with that. So I'm just moving on and seeing what else needs moved around or shifted, and I'm going to go ahead and start gluing the rest of this down using my Nuvo glue. Make sure that you remember to peel the backing off of your acrylic pieces. It does come with a backing on there from when they cut them out, so just be sure to peel that off before you actually glue anything down. So I just like to use my liquid Nuvo glue. It seems to hold up really nice with acrylics, and it seems like it's really staying for a long time in my books. So I just popped my little tree down. I'm going to pop this one up with a foam square for dimension, and then I'm pulling out a couple chipboard leaves to add to my layout from that Simple Stories collection. I'm just adding a few, nothing crazy. I feel like this layout already has a lot with the stenciling and everything, so I don't want to go too overwhelmingly crazy with all of my embellishments, but I just want to add a couple little somethings. So here I'm just going to go ahead and start sticking down my little acrylic banners. So I'm just staggering them here and there, kind of going different directions with them, different lengths. I'm not centering them or anything. I'm not lining them up. I'm just staggering them. And then I like that cute little label from the paper snips below it. I just think this is so sweet, and I just love all of these colors. I am a sucker for fall colors, and I absolutely love this. I love this month's box. It's so pretty. So I'm just tucking in these little kind of look like a binder clip, but I think it's actually supposed to be the top of a clipboard, or that's what it's supposed to look like. So it's actually a die that I have from another set here, so I just cut a couple of those out on my Big Shot machine. And then the same with this is another die set that I have that's actually to create decorative tags, but I really like the edges of them, so I use that on this layout. But in the shop there's actually some border dies that I really love, but again, those are in the mail for me, so I ordered them, but I haven't received them yet. So in the future I will use those, but for now I am just using what I have on hand. So I'm just going to clean my desk up a little bit. I'm going to grab some sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps. That's another design team that I'm part of, and I'm going to add a few sequins just for some extra sparkle. And there are all my beautiful sequins on there. I'm going to tuck some thread in behind my epoxy button that I created. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I like to sandwich the thread in between some glue dots so that I can make sure it's super sticky and it's not going to go anywhere. So there is my little thread. I love that little guy. It's such a beautiful little epoxy button. I'll go ahead and put my date stamp up there with my Paige Evans date stamp. Then I'm just fluffing up the edges of my leaves up at the top. And then here is where I'm going to go ahead and add that little notch in the top section of my paper. So I just cut a little notch with my scissors, and then I'm just rolling the edges so that you can see the pattern behind it. This is a double-sided sheet of paper, so it does have another pattern on the other side, and I thought it was just perfect that it's green right there to match the green tractor. So then I'm just cutting a piece of that orange same pattern paper that I used before, and I'm just going to place that behind that little notched out area. And then I'm just going to grab a couple of these little puffy leaves and place them right here, and then I'm just going to add a few sequins. So super easy on this one. It just has a lot of stuff on it, but that's my motto. When in doubt, add more stuff. So here's my finished layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this process, and feel free to follow me on my channel or on the Bramble Fox channel. I'll post them on both. So I'm super excited to be creating for Bramble Fox now, and I'm super excited for what's to come. So thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.